Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to yet another episode in Inner Guide Q&A program. Now, in society, we have heard some people may say, being kind is a weakness. The people who become kind to others are weak. People may say like that. So today, from this Inner Guide Q&A program, we are going to find that how to be kind without being weak. We need to know that kindness itself is not a weakness. Kindness is a virtue. It is a great quality that you can have in your mind. But people consider the people who become kind to others, people who are very compassionate to others, are weak. But that is not the reality. So how can you be kind without being weak? So it reminds me a wonderful discourse in Supreme Buddha's teachings. In that discourse it says, if you can maintain your patience when you are powerful than the other person, if you can maintain your inner peace when someone complains you or someone hurts you, even though you are more powerful than that person, that is the greatest patience that you can have in your life. So, being patient, being silent, doesn't define that you are weak. So how to be kind and how to be patient without being weak? So you should not go to the arena of negativeness. It means you should not be patient out of fear. And you should not go to the arena of aggressiveness. That means you should not be aggressive to others. Instead, you can be assertive. You should not be negative and you should not be aggressive. Instead, you can be assertive. So what do you mean by assertiveness? Assertiveness means being kind and maintaining your inner peace without being aggressive, and still you can be confident. If you can be confident as well as if you can be kind to others, that is what you call the assertiveness. So, when you be kind to other person, that does not mean that you are weak. So what you have to do when you become kind, you have to be wise also. So the kindness mixed with wisdom is the best kindness. You can be kind. If those people, if those evil people or toxic people comes to you and start hurting you again and again, you have to take yourself back. You can stay away from those people. You should not fall into the same trap again and again. Instead, you can be away from them. And that is what you call the assertiveness. So, in your life, you should be kind as well as wise. When you become kind and as well as wise, you become assertive. That is what the real kindness is. So don't let anyone to control your inner peace. Don't let anyone to change your emotions and make you sad. Instead, you should be assertive. You should maintain your inner peace and be confident and be patient and be kind to them, but never ever be angry and hurt others. Namo Buddhaya, Theruvan Saranai. First of all, we have to realize that living in the present moment, focusing your mind to the present moment is not a simple thing. It is very hard, but also it is an achievable target. Our great teacher Supreme Buddha taught us, Atitang nanvagameya nappati kanke anagata. You should not chase after the past. And also, you should not make too much expectations about the future. Supreme Buddha said, Yadati tang pahinantang appattancha anagata. What is past is left behind. It is gone. It is over now. Appattancha anagata. The future is yet to come. It hasn't reached yet. Buddha said, Pachuppannancha yo dhammang tattha tattha vipassati. What you have to do is live in the present moment and see the present moment as it is. Right? Realize the present moment as it is. So it is very hard to focus your mind to the present moment. Our great teacher Supreme Buddha taught us the nature of the mind is it always runs to the past. Normally, our mind has a habit to wander in the past, memories, right? When we are alone, when we are solitude, and when we live in our life alone, lonely, normally it is the nature, our mind runs to the past. It lives in the past memories, thinking about them. Sometimes you may regret about them. Sometimes you may be happy about them. Sometimes you may cry about them. Right? So that is the nature of our mind. It is always wandering in the past. And also sometimes our mind try to make expectations, too much expectations about the future. Right? People dream too much about their future, but they do not work for the dreams to come true. So our great teacher Supreme Buddha taught us, you should not let your mind to wander in the past, as well as you should not let your mind to go for the future and make too much expectations about that. What you have to do is, you have to work in the present moment to make your future better, as well as to make your past better. Because when you live correctly in the present moment, right, your past will be a good one because you have lived in the correct way. And also, if you are sure that you are living correctly in the right way in the present moment, your future will be also a good one because you are doing the right thing right now. So, you need to have a good practice to focus your mind to the present moment. So it should be practiced by meditation, as well as it should be practiced in the practical world, in your life. So I will teach you some tricks or things that you should practice in your life to be in the present moment, right? So, when you have a free time, right, dedicate yourself to live in the present moment for a little time. During the day, when you have the free time, allocate your time about 5 minutes to live in the present moment. Sit on a chair, you can close your eyes, and just experience that you are in your present. You are not in your past, you are not in your future, always you are in your present. That is the reality, right? The past has gone, as well as the future hasn't come yet, right? So, close your eyes and just try to focus your mind to the present moment. Try to think about what you feel, what you hear, and what you think about. All the things that you experience now will fade away to the past, and it will go into the arena of past, right? So take your time in the day and practice this. The best way to focus your mind to the present moment is the breathing meditation. Breathing meditation is one of the best meditations that you can bring your mind from the arena of past and the future to the present moment. Because the breath, when you're focusing on your breath, right, always the breath arises and it goes down, so this breath prevails in the present. So when you focus your mind to the breath, then your mind is always in the present moment. And also, you have to practice to live in the present moment in your practical life, in your day-to-day life. So how to do that? So it is very beneficial to live in the present when you are in the hard times, when you are going through a problem. Now suppose if a person comes to you and started blaming you. Now when he is blaming, you hear that sound, the words, right? When we think about these words, right? When he is blaming, you hear that, and after that very moment, it has gone to the arena of past. Those words are not prevailing anymore, right? But our mind does not like to think that. Our mind clings to those words, right? Our mind tries to hold on to those words, and what our mind does is it always make a loop-like thing to bring back all those thoughts, all those words again and again to our mind, and that is why we are suffering. That is why we feel hurt, right? If we can realize the reality that all these words that I heard has gone to the past, they are no longer here anymore, they are vanished, then you don't want to suffer for anything, right? Because it has gone to the past. You cannot do anything about that. But our mind is not ready for that, right? Our mind tries to cling to those words, right? So what you have to do, when someone blames you, when you are going through a hard time, realize that all those things are impermanent, and it vanishes very quickly from my life. So I don't want to worry about them, right? So if you are living in the present moment correctly, doing the correct thing, doing the right thing, doing good things, you don't want to worry about the past, as well as you don't want to worry about the future. Of course, you can make the plans for the future, no problem, but do not dream too much about it. Because the more we dream, it is like we are stopping our vehicle and just looking towards the road without driving, right? The more we dream, we feel jealous about the achievers who achieve our goals, right? So it is like you are stopping your vehicle on the road and looking at the vehicles that pass by. You are not driving, right? You can make your plans, you can make your goals, but do not dream too much about it. Just start working for it, right? So the dream becomes a goal when you are working on it only. So if you can live in the present, doing the correct thing, doing what should be done now, you don't want to worry about the past, as well as you don't want to worry about the future. So in that way, you will have a life without regret and without worrying about the future and the past, and live your life in the present moment and be happy by your life. Namo Buddhaya, Theruvan Saranai. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to yet another Q&A video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the fear of failure and how to deal with it. Did you know that the majority of the people who fail in their life challenges fail because of this fear of failure? So we're going to find a solution and how to deal with it. First of all, we have to realize that failure is a part of life, right? It is with the life. It comes with the life. And fearing the failure, this fear that arises inside our mind, it's an emotion. So these are two different things. Let's talk about the failure. Failure, you cannot avoid it. It's a worldly condition. Our great teacher, Supreme Buddha, said there are 8 worldly conditions in this world. From time to time, you have to go through these 8 worldly conditions. So what are these 8 worldly conditions? Buddha explained: pleasure, pain, blame, praise, disrepute, fame, gain, loss. These things are the 8 worldly conditions, right? So these things change time to time. From time to time, these things comes to our life, and we have to go through these things. So you cannot avoid the failure. Sometimes you get what you want. Sometimes you don't get what you want. So we have to find a way to deal with it. One thing that you have to realize is, when you fear the failure more and more, there will be more chances for you to fail. That is a law in this nature. That is a law for our mind, right? The more you fear, the more you fail. Keep that in your mind, right? So that means when you fear too much, you're running out of your plans. You're not thinking about your plans, and you're just sticking to that emotion of fear, and you're not going to take the risks, and you're not going to take that next step. So fearing the failure, this fear is the thing that holds you back from the success. Realize it. So what we can do with this fear when it comes to our mind? Of course, we can use our fear to our success. How? So if you are afraid of failure, then you can be well prepared, right? Then you have to think, oh, I'm afraid of failing, so I must come up with a plan, and I must work my plan. So in that way, you can use this emotion to your own success. And there's another thing. You have to learn how to keep your expectations moderate. Not too high, not too low, but in the middle way, in the moderate state. How do we keep it? Do not think of yourself that I'm going to be the perfect in this world. I'm going to be the best in this world. Of course you can be the best, but not for a long time. It is also impermanent. And also, don't think about yourself like, I'm not good enough, I cannot do it, I'm not going to make it. Don't think about yourself negatively. Instead, keep your expectations moderate. How? I will do my best. If you are facing an exam, all right, if you are fearing about it, you have to think, I will do my best. Right? I'm not going to be the best, but I can do my best. I can become the best version of myself, right? That is why I am trying for this. You have to think about that again and again. When you think about that, you're trying to give the best of yourself. You're trying to come up with a better plan, and you're trying to work that plan. When you keep your expectations too high, you have to set and make some unrealistic plans, right, which are not going to work. When you keep your expectations very low, you're not going to come up with a plan actually, because you're thinking lowly about yourself, right? So keep your expectations in moderate way. Then you will feel less fear. And I must say, every one of us feel this fear. It's a common mental condition, right? And also, every one of us fail. It's also a common worldly condition. Do you think the Buddha didn't fail? before he becomes the Buddha, when he was the Bodhisattva, he failed many times, right? He spent 6 years of time trying to find this Buddhahood, right? Trying to find this enlightenment. But finally he failed, right? He tried many things like self-mortification, these harsh meditations. But finally he realized that I cannot achieve this enlightenment through these hardships. Then he thought, now I must change my plan. I must change the way I am doing. That is what Buddha thought. But he did not give up his dream. He did not give up his goal. Instead, he changed the plan. So you can change your plan. You can change the way you are doing, right? But do not give up your dream. You will fail, you will fall, you will have to suffer in this life. That is the life, but do not give up the dream. Right? If you're a student, if you're having the life challenges, never give up. Change the way you're doing. It's okay, you can do that, right? So that is what you have to do. And the final thing that I have to say is, do not be afraid to fail. Because failure teaches us many things, many lessons. It teaches us what not to do. It teaches us how to be patient. It teaches us you're a human and you will fail. It teaches us how to be humble. There are many lessons that we can learn from failure. But when you win all the time, if there is the victory all the time in your life, you will never learn many things. Instead, it will feed your ego. So, keep it in your mind. Do not be afraid to fail, but be afraid to not to try. So keep these things in your mind and practice and be happy in your life. Namo Buddhaya.
Namo Buddhaya. It is quite easy to be patient and to be calm when the life goes smoothly. But where our real patience comes into test is in the middle of adversity. I know it is very difficult to practice patience for all of us. It is easier to say to be patient. It is easier to advise to be patient, but it is easy to talk about patience, but to practice this quality, it is really, really challenges for every one of us. So although it is difficult, although it is challenging, we have to practice this amazing quality that brings the happiness and the calmness and peace to our life. So let's talk about how to practice patience according to Buddha's teachings. So in Buddhism, patience is considered as the greatest virtue. In Dhammapada, verse number 184, the Buddha says, patience is the highest virtue. The Buddhas say that Nibbana is supreme. And the one who harms others is not a monk. And one who destroys others is not a monk. So in Buddhism, a bigger space and a bigger value is given to the patience and to practice the patience as the practice of patience as an inner quality. Not just to talk about it, not just to read about it or to learn about it, but the real practice. So in Buddhism, the greatest quality in Buddhism, the greatest virtue is considered as the patience also. So what exactly is patience? The Buddha describes this as follows. So being able to put up with ups and downs and challenging situations and disagreeable experiences in life is called patience. But to be honest, it is really difficult to be patient. Yes, it is difficult. It is going to be difficult, and it will be always difficult. It will never be easy, because that's the nature of all good practices in life. The Buddha said, what brings the happiness to your life, to practice such qualities, is the most difficult thing that you have to do in your life. But although it is difficult, we all have to practice this amazing quality of being patient. Now, in Buddhism, being silent, tolerating and enduring everything out of fear does not mean the real patience. In Buddhism, the real patience comes with a deeper meaning of life. When someone has a deeper meaning of his life, and when someone knows the true nature of life, then it's very easy for that person to be patient and to practice the amazing quality of patience. Normally, when we tolerate and when we become silent, the reason why we become silent is because of the fear. Sometimes we have no choice to do anything, right? In that case, we become silent. But the Buddha says that that is not the true patience. Someone can see such kind of a person and say, oh, he is patient. But that's not the true patient, because that person doesn't have the power. That person doesn't have the authority to do something, right? So being patient out of fear is not the true patience. The Buddha says about the real patience like this. In Vepachiti Sutta, it is mentioned, so the real patience comes when you understand that there is the beast inside you. What is that beast? The anger. And if you're afraid of that anger, and if you're afraid of that beast to control your life, and if you can be patient in that situation by controlling your emotions and controlling your thoughts and controlling your anger and deciding to not to harm that person, that is called the true patience and the real patience. To practice such kind of a patience, you have to do a great dedication. Sometimes you have to go through a lot of hardships. You have to endure a lot. But still, why you become patient? Because you believe that being patient is the greatest virtue that you can practice in life. And you believe that you are much more better than them, and you have a better qualities than them. If you believe in that, you can truly be patient. To practice patience, the Buddha offers us a path of thinking in a more deeper level of understanding through our life. So suppose a person comes to you and treat you with rude words, right? Or treat you with their meanness. How can you avoid that situation without even worrying? How to do that? So the Buddha teaches us to look at this situation through the 3 marks of existence. So what are 3 marks of existence? So the Buddha says the 3 marks of existence are anicca, dukkha, and anatta. Impermanence, suffering, and non-self. So anicca. Anicca is the understanding about the impermanence. So the Buddha said that everything in life is subjected to change. If you look at our life, there is nothing that we can hold on to and think and find that is not subjected to change. So once you understanding this intrinsic nature or the inherent nature of impermanence, it's very easy to let go of that anger and to be patient. Because let's say someone blamed you or someone treated you with rude words, okay? Right at the moment that you heard that voice, those words, they became impermanent, right? But here's the problem. Why does we hear the same thing again and again, what they said in our mind, and we keep creating that chain of thought, and we keep creating that anger in our mind? Because the mind has the nature to recreate everything that we heard or what we experienced, okay? So we think that they abused me, they hurt me, and they treated me with these rude words. So I should not be treated like this. But in reality, those words had been impermanent now. They have been vanished. For an example, the words that you heard from me before, now everything has been vanished. They don't exist. That's the reality of life. But once you're understanding this true and intrinsic nature of impermanence, it's very easy to let go of the anger, because you don't find anything to hold on to now. What is the word that we have to hold on to now in this moment to be angry? No, it has gone. So once you understand this true nature of impermanence, it's very easy to practice patience. And the second thing that we have to understand is dukkha. Dukkha often refers to as suffering. So the Buddha said that the pain and suffering is a part of our life. So you cannot remove that. We have to face that situation, okay? Because that is the nature of living. The nature of life is, it is always connected or characterized by the pain or suffering. This is not to worry about the pain or the suffering, but to see it as a part of life and accept it, learn to be with it, learn to deal with it. That is how we can understand the suffering. And the final thing that we have to realize and understanding is the nature of anatta. The nature of anatta is the nature of not self or non-self, right? The Buddha says that there are things in your life that are out of your control. Not every time you're going to have everything according to your wishes. Okay? There are things that are out of our range of control. Once we understand this true nature of anatta or non-self, it is really easy to accept the truth in life. And it is very easy to not to worry about the things that we cannot control. So if you look at the life, if you look at the situations in your life, in these three marks of existence, the Buddha said that it is really easy to practice the patience. It is really easy to love people, to give your kindness to people, because we know that we are not going to last forever, and we know that they are not going to last forever. What they did was not going to last forever. What they said was not going to last forever. So we can let go of the anger and we can move on. So these are the few things and few realizations that will help us to practice the patience in your life. So keep this in your mind and be patient. Namo Buddhaya.